So today the temperatures have warmed up ever so slightly. I've got a few bits I need to get done around the garden. I'm going to be doing a big filter clean on the grow-on tank. But before we get cracking with that, I've got some fishies that are going to their new forever home today. So I'll spin you around and show you what we got. So these are the two that are going to their new forever homes. Let me just gently move that net off for a minute without spooking them. So we've got the, not really sure what he is, might be a Kikikorio of some kind, might just be a ghost, but the dark grey metallic Deutz thing, don't really know, but lovely fish. And then the big, what used to be a shower, more of a Sankey these days, but yeah, a little bit stressed again because obviously they're just been netted and bowled up, but the pond's at 8 degrees today, so the pond they're going to is also at 8 degrees. It's literally just up the road from me, so they'll go to their new forever homes. So bye Mr. Sankey Shower, bye Mr. I have no idea what you are, have a good life. But yeah, no, they've all, obviously these are the ones that I rescued a couple of weeks ago, well about a month ago now, and they've been absolutely fine and dandy. You can go and have a look at the rest of them. They're all doing really well in there. There's the big brown one with the beautiful fins and tail. The Kahaku is just mooching around down there behind the step. Obviously, as always, my Jinrin Chag in the bottom corner sulking. Yeah, he's mooching about. There was 5. Oh, the Chag's on the move. You see me at the window. There's the other one. The Matsuba or Chiba. Again, not 100% sure what he is. She'll be here any minute to pick them up. The patio's a bit drier today and is looking really. So you can now see what I've done there. Quite like that. Not bad for, what is it, 14 slabs, so 28 quid's worth. And then there's one spare slab somewhere. Don't know where I put it. I put it somewhere. But yeah, there's one extra slab kicking about. But yeah, the storms we've had over the last few days has blown an awful lot of crud into the Japanese garden. So I might even, after I finish topping that up, I might just stick the hose pipe in there, let that overflow a bit and get rid of some of the crud off the surface of that. Japanese garden, as you can see, is looking all fine and dandy. Spring is finally almost here. We're getting some leaves on the old acers, so that's always the first one to come out. That's a lovely green and red leaf, green leaf with red tips. Love that one. Can't remember its name. I did write it down as well, but what can you do? And then that's me red one, and that's me other one. Again, I can't remember. But speaking of bonsais, trimmed, planted, potted. So we've got this one. I really like that one. All wired up, ready to become great. This one's already developed some really nice pads already, so really like that one as well. And then obviously the first one, which is already on a plain background, so you can see that one. Yeah, thought I'd go for a bit of a different shape, and then hopefully later today, if I get time while the tanks are filling up, I'm going to repot them. Obviously I've got the 2 new bonsai pots that I picked up from the growing show the other day, and they're still sat there. I forgot to take the medicines in yesterday. Never mind. I've made a quick start on these little bonsais down here. Well, say I made a start. All I've done is tipped off and scraped off the bark that was on the top. There's an awful lot of bark on the top. In fact, just a little tip as well. Obviously, a lot of you may have seen my recent-ish video of how to make your own bonsai saw. Well, it's a good few months old now. But the reason we put bark, grit, perlite and loose materials in there is, if you have a look at this, look at all the roots that are on the top where the bark was, because evergreen trees like this love aerated soil. Yeah, if all you put in a bonsai pot is just soil or just compost or soil and compost, you ain't going to get very far. The trees will still survive, but they won't thrive. And it's this mixture that does really well. And as you can see, this is my own bonsai mix. We've got bark, white stuff is perlite, and then obviously you can see a little bit of compost in there. This one's probably a better one. We've got a little bit of compost in there, and then there's some agricultural grit as well. And if you want to know how to make your own bonsai soil, look on my channel and there's a video on it. Now that's some roots. Look at that. These have been thriving in those pots, almost root bound now. But we're going to get that untangled. I'm going to take all this old soil off because I want my own bonsai soil on there. But yeah, it is actually a mix all the way through of bark and compost. But you can see by the tips of these roots that because they're so white, it means they're so new. The darker the root, the older it is. But yeah, they've been doing really well in these in the soil they've been put in. But yeah, I'm going to detangle that one and get it potted up. Very similar to how I did my aces. He's literally using my chopstick. It's a stainless steel chopstick. It's a little thin one just so I can get in between all these roots. And all I'm basically doing is trying to get all the soil out without damaging any or very few of the roots. So the best way to do it is start at the top and work radially around the bonsai. A few reasons we do this is one, it damages less roots, but what I'm also doing is combing the roots out on a radial pattern, because in bonsai you don't really want crossed over roots. To be honest, no wonder these have done so well. It's not just a mix of compost and bark. There is what looks like perlite in there as well. There is mainly compost, but it looks like there's a bit of perlite in there as well. Look, works wonders on bonsais, perlite. Just helps oxygenate and keep the soil very well draining. So, oh, look, getting brand new roots like coming from right at the top. I don't know if you can quite see that there, look. Brand new root coming from right near the top. So yeah, these are very healthy trees. Weren't that expensive either. I think I got all 4 of them for about 20 quid. I think they were like $4.99 each. Which does seem a lot for such a tiny tree, I suppose, but you pay for what you get, really, don't you? So when I get down to the bigger roots at the top, if there are any, and we'll stop working from the top and we'll start working from the sides and bottom. Just getting out all this loose soil from the top. Just can't believe how many brand new roots there are. Normally when you get a tree like this from a nursery or a garden centre or whatever, they're normally like 100% pot bound and in a right state. This is probably one of the best trees I've ever desoiled. But as you can see, that I'm just starting to get the top roots now all untangled. Just working the soil out and detangling them. Obviously don't pull it because you don't want to snap the roots, but just wiggle your chopstick. If it doesn't, like this bit, if it doesn't want to come out, that means that root is still bound in the soil. So just keep teasing the soil until you've got no soil left, basically. So we're almost there. It's taken me a bit longer than anticipated because of how dense the root ball is. It's so healthy, I can't actually get my chopstick in there to scrape at the soil without damaging the roots. I've done quite well. I haven't lost too many roots, as you can see in there, just a few. But if you come across this, all you want to basically do, I don't know how clear that's coming out there, is literally just that kind of motion, half poking and just moving the chopstick half a centimetre, 5 mm or so, and just tickle the soil once you've loosened a section up, or it looks loose, tip your tree up and just wiggle it a bit more, and then as you can see there, your soil then all falls out. So there's a section here that's still got a fair bit of soil there, so you just scrape at the soil just gently, not pulling at the roots, just teasing the soil, and once the soil's loose, tip your tree and it will fall out. Just gently, gently, gently. That's the thing with bonsai, the more care you take, the better they do. And yes, it does take time. It is one of those hobbies that you do need a lot of patience for, because if you don't do it right, then you don't have a bonsai, basically. If I literally just tipped this upside down, shook all the soil off and planted it as it was, it wouldn't have done very well, and vice versa. If I'd have just yanked at all the roots to get all the soil off, I wouldn't have any roots and the tree wouldn't have survived. So it's just patience, patience, just tickling and teasing, and we're almost there now. There's very little soil left, but it's just that very I've got quite a big root coming out this way and quite a big root coming out that way, and all the roots in between are obviously all matted together. So it's just a case of working in between these two big roots, separating all the soil. One of these roots might even be chopped off, but I don't want to do that until I can see what I'm working with, and then I can work out what roots I'm keeping and what roots I'm not. So once I've got every last bit of soil out of here, I will snap back to you. And this is why I found it so difficult. All the soil's now out, but the big root I mentioned that's coming around this side at the bottom here, where am I? Here. This big root down here and this big root up here have actually fused themselves in the middle here, and they're actually completely fused. I've been trying to detangle them for a good 5 minutes, but they're actually fused in together, so I may have to cut one of them. Right, all detangled. So now we need to work out what roots we're keeping and what roots we're not. I'm going to start off with by getting rid of this top root. That's far too high for where all the other roots are, so we'll get rid of that one. When you are cutting roots, do try to make sure you're only cutting the one you want to cut. So there. That gives us a cleaner base now, and we've got a couple of nice radial roots there. Some people might think, well, why don't you just plant it the way it is? Could do, but then it's not the bonsai I want it to be. You want to try and make it the bonsai you want from the word go. Because if I plant it like this, when these roots get really thick and really strong, then obviously they're going to have no movement at all, and either they would have to be chopped off or just left, and as I said, I don't want to leave them. So again, this is going to take me a while to try and detangle this. I've snapped the main end off that, so they're now not fused together, but I'm going to detangle this in the middle here so I can separate that side from that side. And here we have it, guys. We finally have a completely detangled root base. So I haven't lost too many. I have had to lose a few more of the really bad bits that I couldn't untangle, but so we've got 3 separate decent sized roots going in 3 completely different directions, although this one does curl back under itself, so I am going to try and work that out when I plant it. I'm not going to really lose much more of the roots other than some of the length of these bottom ones. So it's about perfect size now for a bonsai tree, and what we want to try and do is get the roots radially. So I want obviously them two are a lovely split there, and then there's another one around this side coming this way. I have all 3 of them going in 3 different directions. When potted up, I'm going to try and straighten this one. Where are we? Can't see the camera, got my hand in the way. Straighten this one out so it's more like that than it is curled under like that. So yeah, I'm going to choose a pot, which pot to put it in. I'm not going to do pretty much any wiring to these, they're a bit small for wiring. Could put some shape into them, but no, I'm just going to let them grow for this year, and then we'll start shaping and styling these ones next year. So I'm going to grab a pot, grab some bonsai soil, and get crack-a-lacking. I think I've showed you this before, but if I haven't, then I'm going to show you it again. How I prepare the pot. I've decided for this first one I am going to use one of these new pots, but plaster of scrim tape. As you can see that there, look. I cut a section of that off to block the hole so we won't lose all this bonsai soil and compost and whatnot down there. And the plaster of scrim tape is great for this because it's ever so slightly tacky, so you can stick it down to the base like so, but so it stays there permanently. What I always do is, with a thin piece of wire, make a loop and then point the wire down, and do the same on the other side. Make a loop and point the wire down. Doesn't matter if your loops don't go the same way or opposite ways. They can go the same or opposite, doesn't matter, just as long as you've got two loops and a wire. So you've got loops on the top quite flat like so, and then the wire's pointing down, and then all we do is we poke that wire through said hole in the bottom of your pot. Like that. Push it nice and flat, and then from underneath get your fingers on the loops and then just bend the wire round that way and round that way, bit of perlite, there you go, and then that now can't move from the bottom, and that's all nice and secure in there. So that's how I prepare my pot. So just gone and got a big old scoop of the old bonsai soil. As you can see, it's mostly perlite, grit and bark, with a small amount of compost in there as well, just for the extra nutrients. You can see there's some compost, but yeah, mainly bark. If you do get any massive lumps of bark like this, either break them up into smaller pieces or just discard them if you can't break them up, but you want it all relatively small pieces if you can. Here we go. Right, so I'm going to get that little tree into this little pot. So firstly, so what we do is we get a scoop of our mix into the bottom of the pot. Now for this tree, obviously because of the shape of the roots, I want a decent mound in the centre, because we're going to try and get this root to grow that way. So I'm going to flare the roots out in the directions I want them. Place the tree firmly in place, tucking all your roots down low. So now I've got to hold this firmly in place because obviously I'm bending that root currently at the minute. Get some soil in and around. I may put some wire on this, I may not to bend the tree but to hold the tree in place. It depends how well it sets in a second when I move my weight off the top of the tree. I'm just going to get enough soil in there to start off with. Just to cover all the roots. And then, sorry, just twerk the phone. If I let go, yeah, it's going to push over like that. So I need to bend that root down. So I'll get a tie that in. I may have to put it actually in another bonsai pot. I was hoping it wouldn't do that, but never mind. Right, I'll snap back to you in a second. So round two, we've got a little bonsai training pot. I've already put my scrim tape in there, but as you can see now I've got a large wire sticking out of the holes currently at the minute, and that's to wire the tree down and hold it steady where I want it. Because the idea of bonsai is having a tree that what's the word? You want it to look how you want it to look, if that makes sense. And if I don't do this work to it now, then it won't ever look how I want it to look. That's the words. So, right. What I'm going to do is, if I put it in that way round, so that goes into that corner, that goes into that corner. I actually have to snip a little bit more of these danglies off, because this pot's a lot smaller than I was planning, but it doesn't matter. Plenty of roots still on this. So now we're left with a much smaller bowl. Same position there. So I'm spreading my radial roots out to where I want them, holding the tree firmly where I want it. It's just so yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to wire this up now before I proceed to put any more soil in. I'm going to bring the wire round the back that way, holding that root nice and flat. What we're doing is keeping the tree flat, so this root is still as flat as it can be, and then bringing the wire together and just giving it a little twist. Once the wires are locked together, what I then do is snip off the excess, like so, get rid of those, and then with me gin pliers, will you stay there a second? Yeah, it's already holding down, I just need to now get it straight. So, holding the tree in the position I want, and then grab the end of those wires, pull and twist, try not to get any of the roots tangled in it, if we can help it. Sorry for the shoddy camera work, give me a second. Well, here we go, this is the second one. As you can see, lovely fresh growth. You can see a lot of white tips on the end of these roots there. You've got lovely, not that it's coming out white on camera I don't think, but another one here. Lots of white tips, fresh growth, but the only section that they had perlite was right around the trunk, just like a little ball of perlite here, which really does encourage root growth, but it also makes, if they're not looked after and trained, an absolute tangled mess. And this one's curled back under the tree again, so I might have to lose that one on this occasion, at least from that point there. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to get this untangled and then we'll have a look. Yeah, so I had to get rid of the one that was curled right back under. Where are we there? That come off here. Where are we? And that was going back under there, but that's now off. All detangled. Again, 3 nice radial roots on there. So we will cut off the excess that we don't need, like so. Where are we? And then we can get that in a new pot. So I've decided, as this one's got much flatter, neater roots, now I've chopped most of the horrible ones off, I'm going to put it in this pot that I was planning on putting the first one in. Just checking some of these roots at the top, making sure none are growing 100% vertically, which I don't think there are any that are going to be a problem. But yeah, that fits nicely in there. That's going to be able to stand up straight. I might have this one as a straight vertical tree. I'll just get these roots positioned how I want them. So, again, we go and fill in any air pockets. Not a big air pocket there. You may think you can see roots on the surface, but what I did, I mixed in some of their compost they came in with my bonsai soil, and then just added some more perlite to it, just because they were doing so well and thriving in whatever soil they came from. I thought I'd use that as the compost base for my bonsai soil, and there we have it. And just then give it a light firm. Keep all the oxygen in the soil and don't get squished completely. And there we go. Again, doesn't really look like a bonsai tree at the minute, but give it a season of growth. Yeah, give it a season of growth, and then a bit of pruning and whatnot from me, and that'll then look like a bonsai, just like the other ones I did the other day. Yeah, that's another one that now needs some watering. I may leave them last two because it's getting quite late now, and the pond's just about filled back up. So yeah, get some other bits done. Right guys, well that's it for today. It's gone really cold out there, and the light's disappearing anyway. So I'm going to do a bit of experiment. Obviously you just saw them last two bonsais potted up, that's the word. And what I'm going to do with the other two, all four of them were identical in size, but with the other two, what I'm going to do is plant them in much bigger pots. Not ridiculously big, but a lot bigger. Still same process, remove all the old soil, detangle the roots, but just pot them in much bigger pots, and we'll see the difference by the end of this season of which one's grown the biggest. Just to give you an idea of the bigger the pot, the quicker the tree grows, which is why if you plant a tree in the ground, it will grow a lot quicker. It just won't be as defined as a bonsai in a smaller pot. So a bit of an experiment, we'll see how that goes. And yeah, the good thing with it is that if you put them in a bigger pot, you get quicker growth. You can then worry about the defining later on by removing it, cutting the roots back, and then planting it again in a smaller pot, kind of like I did with the Aces. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But this has been quite a long one, so on that note, thanks all for watching. Like the video, share it to all your friends, and we'll catch you all on the next one.